I think there's a big arrow downstairs, John.
There's arrows in there.
Hello, how are you?
What's happening tonight?
It's Thursday, the 20th of June, day I've been looking forward to for a long time. We're in the fabulously refurbished Brunton Hall, which you'll see in all its glory in a moment. And we're here for the official public launch of YES Musselburgh. And to that end, we've a panel of 5 speakers that cover a broad spectrum of political opinion. It's not just SNP, although we have the local MSP Colin Beattie with us, and another MSP, a Green MSP, Alison Johnson. In addition to that, we have one of the members of Labour for Independence and the founder of Trade Unions for Independence. And we also have the Chief Executive of Scotland, Blair Jenkins, and I'm hoping to speak to him in a minute. And I'm going to put to him a very difficult question, which I'll wait till we see him. But it was one that made me vote against devolution in '79. So I suppose in those days I was a unionist. And I can tell you why later on. In fact, we'll go to the very spot where I changed my mind at Central Station.
And what's your hopes for tonight?
I'm hoping that we'll have a good discussion, a good debate. I hope that everybody, even people who are YES supporters, are invigorated and stimulated with the level of the debate. I hope people are challenged, and I hope they challenge the speakers. Nobody's got all the answers. And I'm hoping that people obviously will go from being unsure to sure, and will eventually vote yes. I'm also hoping no people will be vocal and they'll say why they think the status quo and what appears to be the future of a Conservative coalition with UKIP or Labour, whatever, in Westminster is acceptable for Scotland. I mentioned Blair Jenkins, and he's with me now. I alluded to it back there when we were filming. And it was a thing that made me, maybe a unionist, certainly made me vote against devolution in '79. I'm thinking, I'm a socialist, so is the same proportion of people in England, and I don't think it would be right for Scotland to get an advantage over England. Now, I think that Scotland, most people in the West believe that it would be a powerhouse and the 8th richest country, but how does that leave England? And will that influence people maybe not to vote?
It's not just Scotland that suffers from the fact that all of the economic wealth and activity is concentrated in the southeast of England. It's also the north of England. And I'm very strongly of the view, and we say this to people in the north of England, that a dynamic Scottish economy right next to them is going to probably have a beneficial effect to cities, communities in the north of England, and they might get rather more benefit from that than they do from being a long way from the southeast. It would act as a counter tendency to the tendency that there's been there in the UK for the last 30 odd years, which is towards more and more inequality of wealth and opportunity. And I think that direction of travel that the UK has been on for such a long time, under successive Labour and Conservative governments, of enormous disparities of wealth and opportunity with all the consequences of that, I don't think that's the direction of travel a lot of people in England want either. And if we create an independent Scotland which has a different approach to life, different economic policy, strategy, I think that will benefit people in England as well. Also, the other thing we have to tackle, I think, in terms of the labour market, is I think the corporate view in the UK has become that people are more or less disposable units of labour. And I don't think, again, that's not the Scottish view of life, and I believe we can get these things right, get these things better in an independent Scotland.
Brilliant. Thank you very much indeed.
Great pleasure.
Okay.
Tonight, this is going to be in 2 halves. The speakers are each going to speak, some for 7 minutes, and Blair Jenkins, who is
in Ayr, with a father who was an aircraft fitter and a mother who was a nurse. A very strong Labour Party tradition, a very strong trade union tradition, and I grew up in that tradition. I grew up believing in social justice, in fairness, in better distribution of income and wealth, in the notion that people could own bits of land or bits of water, being quite a bizarre one to me. Actually, what the polls tell you is that women are more undecided. And I think that's fair enough. It took me many a long year to think that independence was the right road. Because this campaign is centrally one that starts from the bottom and works its way up. It's about people in Scotland making those decisions.
This is a broad-based campaign, and I want to bring you the Trade Unionists for Independence take on that campaign into this campaign. We decided then that we would start Trade Unionists for Independence. We've done it for two reasons.
It makes pensions so much more affordable in Scotland. And if you've read the newspapers where the announcement's been made by John Swinney that Scottish pensions are going to be triple locked, said that we'd be the 8th richest country in the world. Well, we'd be the 6th richest country by GDP in the 34 richest countries. We'd be the 6th richest of the 34 richest countries. But it's so important that we are able to get these figures out to people so they understand them and appreciate the fact that these are Treasury figures that we're using. These are the UK government's own figures.
Take action, and you have to make sure that your voice is heard. I joined the campaign for devolution, Scotland Forward, before I joined the Scottish Green Party, because I felt it was high time that Scotland had more of a voice, and to make sure that people would listen, that they couldn't simply be ignored.
This is the only one I'll be doing, and that's one reason I'm determined that we get the right result next year. And I believe very, very strongly that we will. Those sorts of economic decisions, economic policies do have consequences. I'm from the north-east of Scotland originally, but I've spent many years now, almost 30 years living in Glasgow, and all my children are born in Glasgow. And I firmly believe that this is a very, very strong part of the case for independence. We know that an independent Scotland will take a different view of inequality, will take a different view of social justice. The independence movement is bringing together a very big tent, if you like, broad church, people from all political traditions and from no political tradition. And I think that's a great part of our strength, opportunity. I think from September next year, Scotland can begin to write a different story.